What's up, it's CinemaShogun here, and we talked about this in a previous video, but sources close to Jordan have spoken out, and they claim that Jordan is depressed because no one believes him, and everyone thinks that he killed his friends. Now, I don't think that he purposely killed his friends. I'm a fair guy, but let's be honest here. Jordan and his lawyer have made it extremely difficult to believe him. I mean, to believe Jordan, here's what you would have to do. To believe Jordan's current telling of events, you would first have to no longer believe Jordan's first telling of events. So in order to believe Jordan now, first, you must no longer believe the original story that Jordan put out. So literally, in order to believe Jordan, you have to not believe Jordan, all right? But let's take it further. In order to believe Jordan, you would have to believe that he most likely didn't notice that some of his friends' items were still in his house. In order to believe Jordan, you would have to believe that Jordan didn't find it weird or just didn't notice that his friends' cars were still outside of his house for days on end. In order to believe Jordan, you would have to believe that he didn't notice that his friend was lying dead on his back porch. In order to believe Jordan, you would have to believe that Jordan never noticed two bodies, the bodies of his friends, lying in his backyard. In order to believe Jordan, you would have to believe that this guy slept for 2 days. In order to believe Jordan, you would have to believe that not one family, not two family, but 3 families are all lying. That all of the families of the 3 men who died, you would have to believe that they're lying about, or they're lying when they say they contacted Jordan. That they're lying when they say they called Jordan. They're lying when they say they texted Jordan. In order to believe Jordan, you would have to believe that all of these families are lying. In order to believe Jordan, you would have to believe that the 5th friend is lying. Because remember, Jordan tried to make it seem like the 5th friend was like the last person to see them alive. But the 5th friend says that he left around 12-ish and everyone was still A-okay. So in order to believe Jordan, you have to believe that the 5th friend is lying. You have to believe that all of the families are lying about trying to contact Jordan. Because remember, at first, Jordan's story was that he had his earbuds in, so he didn't hear any text messages or phone calls. But now, the lawyer has come out. He even claims that he has phone records that no one called Jordan. I find that very hard to believe, that families and girlfriends, loved ones of these 3 individuals never contacted Jordan. But remember, in order to believe Jordan, we have to believe that he didn't hear people banging on his door. Multiple people banging on his door. In order to believe Jordan, we have to believe that he didn't hear anyone break into his house. In order to believe Jordan, we have to believe that he didn't know anything that was going on, but magically he just came to and just woke up and only heard, something going on once the police arrived at his house. As soon as the police arrived, Jordan's up. Jordan's got an empty wine glass. What, was he drinking wine in his sleep? Why would he come to the door with a wine glass in his hand? So folks, I'm a rational person. I'll give someone the benefit of the doubt when I think it's necessary. I think I've been fair here. But in order to believe Jordan, I have to take all of these steps. In order to believe Jordan, I have to be like Simone Biles. I have to run out here and start doing loop-de-loops on doing Olympic handsprings, doing 720 McTwist, jumping through hula hoop after hoop after hoop, flying around, twisting around through sonic rings in order to believe Jordan? I'm sorry, folks, but that's just a little too much to ask. Jordan is asking for a little bit too much. Because even if you take everything I named out of the equation, it all comes back to, in order to believe Jordan, we have to first not believe Jordan. But with that being said, they talked about this case on the news earlier today, and I want to go ahead and roll that clip really quickly. But before I do so, I need a huge favor from all of you all. It takes 1 second. It's totally free. Hit that like button. Let's get this video to 3,000 likes. Drop your thoughts right now down in the comments below. Subscribe. I'm going to roll this news clip, and then I'm going to be right back with even more thoughts.
I don't think that I can ever fully heal until I find out what happened, and I'll never be fully healed. I admired my brother so much.
That was Jonathan Price, the brother of one of the 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans found dead and frozen in the backyard of another friend's house earlier this month after gathering to watch the Chiefs play the Los Angeles Chargers. For more on this bizarre case and the new details of another friend there that night, we're joined now by former FBI special agent and Fox News contributor Nicole Parker. Nicole, no one better to sort of weigh in into the really litany of unanswered questions and holes in this story. Where do you begin?
Well, first of all, I begin, it's extremely bizarre. We all recognize that this is not something that happens every day, that there are 3 grown men that are found frozen. I personally, as an investigator, when I come up onto the scene, I would want to see exactly how those bodies were found, the condition of them. 1 was on the porch, 2 were in the yard. The inconsistencies of the individual who was hosting the party. His attorney originally came out and had one set of, information that he was presenting to the public, and then that story has changed over and over. And as you notice now, that attorney is saying, you know what, I'm going to stay silent until we get the results back, till we get more information on the autopsy, the toxicology. As an agent, the autopsy and toxicology are absolutely critical to get a better picture. Were these individuals, did they have alcohol in their system? Did they have drugs in their system? What was the cause of this? And in the autopsy, it has, 2 parts. There's always the cause of death, which is the medical term of, what actually was the cause of death, as well as the manner of death, which is typically identified as, a suicide or accidental or natural or homicide or sometimes undetermined. And that's going to be extremely key. The problem here is that these families are suffering. They want to understand what happened to their loved one and how did this even occur?
Yeah.
And so they want answers, but the problem is it does take time. These autopsy reports, I'm understanding for this case, may take a few, up to 6, 8, 12 weeks to get the toxicology and the autopsy reports back. So this is going to be something they're going to have to live with for a little while until they have answers.
And you mentioned the attorney for the 4th friend. So the 4th friend, a gentleman named Jordan Willis, is renting this home where these 3 individuals have frozen to death. And the attorney named John Paserno made this statement, which really raised eyebrows for me. Listen here.
Nobody contacted him during the course of those 2 days on his telephone, either by calling his telephone or by sending him a text message. He did get one message on his Facebook Messenger from the fiance of one of the deceased, but he did not read that message until after the police had already come to his house.
And some family and friend members of the 3 deceased are saying that's not the case. Listen, if I were to go over to a friend's house and drop dead and my wife knew where I was going, you can bet she would be calling the friend who owned that house. Do you see a problem with this statement?
I actually do. And the problem is that this is very easily, you're able to find this evidence very easily as an investigator to track someone's records of, the phone calls that were made, their social media records, things of that sort. That is easily, that is evidence that can be easily determined. And so it's not a good idea to start making false statements. Again, I'm not saying that false statements were made, but it is extremely odd that an individual's friends were missing for 2 days and he doesn't even acknowledge phone calls, text messages, or anything. And the fiance had to literally break into the home and go into the home because he was unresponsive and he was sleeping for 2 days with noise canceling headphones. It doesn't sound accurate.
doesn't.
And the inconsistencies, there's just many holes in this, and that's quite alarming.
A lot of them. In a fifth, now there's a fifth individual apparently that was
So
involved.
I've heard from multiple sources now that this is probably going to be drawn out for longer than expected, meaning that it's going to take longer for these reports to come back than originally expected. So there's no telling right now how long these families are going to have to wait for the autopsy and the toxicology reports. Now, they could come out tomorrow. You never know. But from what everyone is saying, it seems like these reports are going to take a little bit longer than usual for whatever reason. And I can't help but think, you know, all right, once we get the toxicology report back, you know, and we know what was in these guys' systems, like, wouldn't it have been beneficial to know if there was anything in Jordan's system at the time? And another thing that sticks out to me, I mean, it's naturally going to happen, but the longer this is drawn out without any answers, the more speculation that's going to be out there, the more the families are going to be out there speaking, the more, like, other people are, I can guarantee you now, other people who know these people are going to start popping up out the woodworks, and there's no telling what direction this story could head in. You know, so it would be nice if law enforcement was, you know, giving updates, providing people with official information, but law enforcement basically wants nothing to do with this case for some weird reason. And, you know, for Jordan, if Jordan is innocent, and I've said it before, he needs to get in front of this situation. And his lawyer, he's not doing a good job. Okay, and I think the lawyer realizes that. I think the lawyer has stated that he's done with interviews now. And maybe that's a good thing, because he has not done Jordan any favors at all. But I just feel like the longer this draws out, the worse things are going to look on Jordan. And we have to remember, like I've stated before, that even once these reports come back, there's still unanswered questions. So I have no idea how this is going to play out. But I do suspect that there's going to be a few more loops, a few more twists. I would not be surprised. I think this story has had its fair share of twists and turns so far. And I just expect that the longer this draws out, the more twists and turns will be thrown into this story. And the family, they've already been out here saying how they feel. They're not holding back. So who knows what they may say next as well. But for right now, let me know your thoughts about this case down in the comments below. While you're down there, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to the channel via Cash App. I'll have my Cash App in the pinned comment. Or you can donate via Super Thanks, or for free. You can help the channel by liking, subscribing, ringing that notification bell, and all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.